How's it going, everybody? Go via or go home. Welcome to the live stream. Today we've got a bit of a different live stream. We're going to be sitting with Rapido, and we're going to be talking about a lot of different products. Some of these, some new ones, a little bit of everything, to be honest with you. And we've got a lot of information for you guys tonight. They often say that I'm a bit of a bad influence. Well, if you feel that way still at the end of the show, yeah, I guess they're right. But I'm gonna just throw this up here real quick because this is the highlight of the show tonight. These locomotives and the tank car and the trailer. All these are due tomorrow. So basically, if you haven't reached out to your favorite hobby shop, the reservations for yours and tomorrow's the last day, so make sure you guys get your reservations in so you don't miss out. So that's how it works. We'll get started in a moment. We'll bring on my special guest in one moment. I just want to say a special hey to everybody who's already watching. Mike, Bubs, Luca, Cornell, Eminem, Dwight, James. How's it going, everybody? Thanks for joining us tonight. It's Monday. It's weird, right? Must be the March break. So thought, what better way to spend a Monday evening, the beginning of the March break, with my favorite company, Rapido. So keeping it Canadian tonight. That's how we do. Hey, Chew. How's it going? Brass Trains. Hello. Let us know where you're from, guys. Put up those Canada flags. All right. And let's see. So it's 8 o'clock. So we're gonna bring on my special guest for this evening. Everybody loves Jordan. He's our favorite at GVO. Jordan, how are you doing this evening?
Hey, Chris. Good. How are you?
Good. Long time no see.
I know, it's been a while. When was the last time we did this? Like 2 years ago? Year and a half ago? Last year?
Feels that way. Well, we talked about a lot of the Rapido stuff and whatnot.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
I've had you on a couple of times here, but couldn't get enough because you're very informative, and definitely you're no stranger to the YouTube community, doing all your YouTube videos for Rapido. Kind of a star. So we love having you here, and we love talking about trains. So that's what we're gonna do tonight. We're gonna quiz you. We're gonna ask you a bunch of train stuff. We're gonna get into the recent announcements too, because I got to tell you, I'm pretty happy, very happy with those announcements. So
for sure, and I'm pretty happy to be here too.
Absolutely. So let's start with the deadline stuff for tomorrow, shall we?
Sounds good. Yeah,
all right.
We've got a lot of stuff coming up. So tomorrow we've got the RS18 news, all of the different paint schemes. We've got the CN RSC14s. We've got the American RS11s, mostly American anyway. Some of them ran up here, but quite a few road names there. We've got the Fruhoff trailers in HO. What am I missing? Oh yes, the conditional M420s. So we've got all of the CN ones we're going to do later. CN ones they're going to go for production. That's nothing to be concerned about. But it's all the BC Rail versions. Any of the secondary roads that would have picked them up from BC Rail, those are all conditional. So we'll see how those are going by tomorrow. It'll take us probably a few days to calculate them.
And the B units as well.
Yes, the B units, of course.
I was shocked. I've never seen those before, and I was very intrigued.
Yeah, they're interesting. A bit unusual, especially for the 70s to see units being built. Brand new, too.
Now, would they normally run as a 2 set, or could you do a set of 3, or would anything else run with that? Or
BC Rail would run them in different sets. I mean, ABs, AVAs, ABBAs. I think they were mostly ABBA sets. So I could be I'm not a huge wealth of knowledge for BC stuff, but I'm sure some people will know a little more than I will. But generally, they would run an A and B together at the very least. But sets, definitely, you'd see them.
Also, I want to add, if anybody in the chat has a question at any point, definitely feel free to put it up in the chat there. We'll throw you up on screen there, and we'll do our best to find the answers for you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, so with the M420, so you said that we've got the CNs, the Zebras. They're the 3500 series, right?
Yeah, so we're actually going to have a little bit of a later deadline on those. I can actually bring up the sales pack. Actually, see if I can bring that up here. Do I have it up? I'll bring it on the screen.
I found that a lot of people did, like when these ones were announced, everyone's like, "Where is the 3500s?"
Exactly.
Well,
so I think the guys wanted to do the earlier ones first, and then see how the later ones would do. So let me just scroll down here. Hopefully, you can see this okay.
Yep. Oh yeah.
All the CN units, so everything on here, Minnesota Commercial, Oil Creek, and Ticeville, those actually are going to be a later deadline, probably I think either in April or May, if I'm not mistaken. So those are all good for production. They're gonna come along. The ones that are conditional are all the BC Rail versions. So you've got two-tone green, you've got the lightning stripe, the hockey stick B units, and the red, white, and blue, and silver units, as well as the Delaware Lackawanna as well. And for more of the U.S. models, we've got the Providence and Worcester units, which are totally different again. So these are all conditional. Unlike the CN units, it's an all-new chassis, it's an all-new shell, it's an all-new nose. Virtually none of the tooling from the CN units can be carried over if we want to do them correctly. So that's why we wanted to make this a conditional run.
And I do believe we've got. I know Lauren will write me an angry letter. He's got a special run of.
Yes, he's doing. I almost forgot. Thank you for reminding me. He's doing a special run of Ontario Southland units. Actually, I'll see if I can poke around here.
Which they also look really nice too.
Yeah,
they're very similar to the BC Rail, right?
Yeah, so they pretty much just the same paint basically, but they threw the OXR kind of reporting marks onto the side. Hold on a sec there.
While you're taking a look, I'm just going to throw a question up on the screen there.
No problem.
Okay, and Bubs031, Brandon, he says, "Hey Jordan, I got a question about the 3500s. Are you guys thinking of doing a commemorative run of the two that ran a town during the ice storm of '98?"
So for the CN ones, we are doing one of them. I'm pretty sure we're doing one of them. I have to double check the numbers because that was in the North America scheme. We are doing those. But one of them was the early A-class unit, if I'm not mistaken. I have to check the numbers. One or two of them were the A-class, which was a slightly different body style of M420. We are doing some of the noodle units, though. I think we're doing 35, 36, 67, and 76. I'm just looking at the sales pack here. Plus, there's another one that had the big CN logo on the side, which is 3561. I'm pretty sure at least one of those was one of the ice storm units, as I recall. I think I found, in the meantime, I can share this here. How many screens open? There, I'm not sure if you can see that or not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, so that is Otter Valley's exclusive run. It's basically a modification of the BC Rail paint job. They just kind of changed the reporting mark. I think that had a different number on the corner of the nose there. But there's a number of different units that they are doing. So these are a conditional run. So here they are.
Very nice.
Available in both DCC sound or DCC ready. So you can choose which one you want to order.
And is it still going to be lock sound?
Yeah. So everything we're doing on right now is ESU V5.
Yeah. V5 is nice. And actually, like I joke about it with a couple of my friends, but I didn't buy a lot of locomotives last year. I just for what I normally run and whatnot. But the one that I did buy back in January was the M420. And I was so overly impressed with how well it ran. I wish I had gotten two, but now that you guys are doing more, it makes it, a lot easier. So
especially if you're modeling for the CN units, if you're modeling after about 1986, 86, 87, that's when CN did that rebuild program and renumbered them into the 3500s.
Oh, there you go. Okay, well, yeah, that helps. Oh, also, I find that they look really good running in twos. It might just be me, but
for sure.
So also, now let's go to the RS11, which is really nice as well. Do you have?
Let me see here. I think I have. Oh my god. Actually, I can probably just share. I can share this right out of our newsletter. Scroll down a little bit here. So much stuff. This was a big newsletter. Bear with me for 1 sec.
No problem. So what I can do, I can mention that the RS11 is going to be available in BN, CV, DNH, Duluth, and was it Duluth and Winnipeg?
Duluth, Winnipeg, and Pacific.
Ah, yes. Sorry, I have chicken scratch. That's okay. NYC and NP. So it's a good selection there.
Yep. These are mostly U.S. names, but definitely the DNH units and the DWP, you would have seen those off and on in Canada. DNH running right into Quebec. And then CV as well, of course. Can't forget those ones. But some interesting road names. We actually redesigned this, just like the RS18s and the RSC14s. It's redesigned from the ground up. So you might remember the first run. There's about 3,000 parts you had to take apart to take the shell off. So this has been totally redesigned. Take a couple of screws out, take the couplers out, and the shell lifts off. So the original one was a bit of a pain in the ass. So we've fixed that on this one.
Now I've got a bunch of questions. Some of them, I mean, none of them really have to do with the RS11 that we're talking about. But if I can, so obviously when you guys ask questions, and I've sat in on the lives myself when it's you guys hosting the lives and whatnot. There's a lot of things that you guys will say. Well, will Rapido make this? Will Rapido make that? They can't tell you. They won't tell you. I've tried. But if you do go to the Rapido website, the brand new shiny website, which we'll touch on later, there is a section where you can send them your ideas for future releases, products, what you want to see, road names, you name it. I think
pretty much anything.
I flooded the inbox there a few times, but
yeah. I tried it. When people email, I try to do my best to get back to everybody. Obviously, the last little bit, if you've seen any of our newsletters, we've been a bit backlogged. But I try to respond to everybody, and especially with the product suggestions. But I do encourage everyone, if you do fill out our suggestion form, that goes right into our database, and it creates all kinds of graphs and various things that make it easy to figure out who wants what and what we should do. It does help.
It's true. And I'm just kind of going through. So Justin would really like to see an MP43C for Go Transit. So would I. Yeah. But we'll see what happens. So
I'm not sure. I thought Atlas got the tooling for that, but I can't remember now.
I hear.
I'm not in the loop on that. So I've heard stuff, but I can't remember what they did. So.
I think that that locomotive within itself is such a huge staple in Canadian, and also like if you're doing the Greater Toronto area, you're going to need a fleet of them, especially the modern and whatnot.
Yep.
I'm excited for the F59, which you guys are doing.
Yeah, those aren't far away.
I believe they're in transit right now, right?
Yeah, I think they're just leaving the factory right now. I'm pretty sure I got some photos of them somewhere. If I can take them out here. One of the many things to show off today. Remember what the product number is. There's so many products in our folder now. I got to dig through it to find everything.
Well, you're looking because, like I said, I like to do my research.
Sure.
So it'll be available in the Go Transit delivery scheme, the Go Transit with the special logo that's kind of tilted, Metra in the black and white, and also kind of the the white, or sorry, there's a like a bit of a purplish one too.
Metrolinks, yeah.
Metrolinks, yeah, in the white and teal. Amtrak in the gray.
That's Montreal AMT.
Yes, yeah.
Amtrak didn't buy these ones specifically, but they did buy the F59 PHI, which is the streamlined version. But we're not doing those ones right at the moment anyway. But I think Afton did those not too long ago.
Really?
But I'm not sure if you can see this now. Am I sharing?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Just let me know when you pop it up there, because it's gray. It's grayed out until I click on it. So I won't see.
I see. Yeah,
look how beautiful that is.
There's that's the Go F59. This is one of the earlier units, class G, I guess. 520 has some of the earlier phase detailing. This would be probably around 88, 89. I think these were delivered. But
in and around there, yeah.
Yeah. So these are the production models. Some of these, I think these just arrived not too long ago, just like a week or two ago. We kind of teased them a little while ago, but they're just kind of arriving now. So
these have the working classification lights and everything, right?
Yep. So you got working class lights. Every unit kind of has different detailing to it. There's a nose there. We got ditch lights. I believe these are all metal handrails. I have to double check on that, but metal railings, and all that stuff.
I think a nice detail that you guys, I believe you guys said that you do add it inside the little bits bag that comes inside, but the little air conditioning units for the top of the cab as well.
Yeah, so we've actually, there's the Tilted Go logo. We've actually included that on the later phase units. They will come installed. On the earlier ones, like 520 and 527 here, they will come in the package because they upfitted those later on in their lives. So you can add those on separately if you want to include that.
Very nice.
And these hopefully aren't too far away. It's been really frustrating getting stuff, kind of having stuff arrive. We typically it takes about 5 to 6 weeks for a shipment to arrive. Right now, shipping times are 3 to 4 months. So, for example, the Chevy Caprices, the N-scale buses, they left the factory the first week of January, and they're still in transit. They've been in transit for 2.5 months, and they're still not expected for another 3 weeks. So it's that stuff would normally have been released in like February, but it's frustrating right now, to say the least.
I can imagine. Where do you find that the blockage is? Is it getting it out of China, or is it getting it through Canada?
Both. So it's a combination of, there's a lot of shutdowns over there. They're kind of rotating between, there's Chinese New Year, and then there's all the COVID stuff that's going on over there right now, a lot of lockdowns again. So there was a backlog getting stuff out, and then getting to Vancouver, there was a huge backlog of incoming shipments. So we were kind of getting hit from both ends, and this isn't just us. This is industry wide. This is for everything. Doesn't matter what it is, from cell phones to anything nowadays. So hopefully it'll clean up a bit in later this year, I hope. But it's been a bit of a tough situation with that stuff.
Oh yeah, no, I can imagine. So roughly when something leaves China, we're looking at about 3 months, 4 months from that time.
Well, the funny thing is that's been typical, and then we've had other shipments that arrive in like 2 months or 6 weeks. So it's really like we had I think the EP5s left at the end of January, early February, and they've just landed. Same with the barrel ore hoppers. They're in the warehouse right now. But other stuff that shipped a month ahead before that is just stuck. So there's no consistency.
Do projects get sent out once? Let's say the barrel ores, they just get sent out once they're packaged and done and good to go, or would you feel more inclined to send it if you know that, let's say, the cabooses we're also just wrapping up production as well, and you wait and you send it all, or do you just say nope, these are done and go?
They should ship everything by project. So because we got about 5 factories we're using now. So one factory is doing the caboose. Another factory is doing the F59s. A different one is doing the RS11s. So it's just whenever each factory is finished, they go. Coincidentally, so the N-scale buses and the Chevy Caprices, 2 totally different factories. They just
Really?
happened to end up in the same container purely by luck,
Huh.
which then ended up sitting in the port for 8 weeks. So,
Well, let's talk about the Union X3 tank car,
oh yes,
because
I read about that.
a little bit of an earlier tank car, right?
Yeah, we got so many project deadlines. I forgot almost all about that one. So that's kind of a transition era tank car. It's the one that I didn't actually pull up here either.
Oh, it's all good.
Let's
What I
see
can
if we can
do.
find it. They were pretty utilitarian, like they were everywhere.
Hmm.
Just give
And
me 1 second.
we've got UTLX Atlantic Refining.
Yep, yep.
There was a couple of different ones, right?
They're generally pretty simple paint schemes, but
Hmm.
there were so many of them, and they ran for a long time. Here we go. Let me just.
That's probably the one thing that never changes with tank cars. I've never seen much of a fancy tank car, even Procore, just plain.
Exactly. There we go. So there's the sales pack for these. Good tagline. It's the most boring, exciting freight car we've announced. Because most of the schemes are just like that. They're basically, let me scroll down a bit. Just they're different versions of black. So, but yeah, lots of different ones. And like I said, these were very, very common. These were kind of your bread and butter tank car of right through the transition era. Some of them lasted into the 60s, probably not, maybe into the early 70s, but not much later than that, as they were kind of phased out. But very common both Canada and the U.S.
It's right to say that it's a very boring tank car, but there's still a lot of detail there, though.
Oh yeah,
And
so yeah, we've got two different underbodies. We've got K brakes, AP brakes. There's different versions of brake wheel, as I believe. You can kind of see that in some of the different CAD drawings we've got here. Bill actually just did a video about these about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So that went up on our YouTube channel just recently, and he goes over all the different details. There's two different trucks, Bettendorf for an Andrews truck. There's all kinds of different stuff, and he actually has these as lasting into the 80s. So it's long.
They're really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So that deadline is tomorrow, amongst the many other ones that I've seemingly forgotten about. So
it's all good. That's what I do my research ahead of time. This is it's not a last minute live, but I definitely just reached out and said let's do this thing because I happen to not be working today, so it kind of works, and I want to make sure that everybody takes advantage of being able to order these products. So many times things will show up, and you guys are nice enough to let us know. You guys are very vocal with the community, letting everybody know, the product is on its way. The product is here. The product is being shipped to your dealer. Check with your dealer. There's none at the dealer anymore. There's none in-house anymore. So everybody needs to make sure that if you want something, to make sure you speak with your dealer and put in your advanced reservation. You get more than enough time. So no excuses.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of working, I will just pop this little bit in. We are desperately trying to find some new people to work for us. We are looking for I think we've mentioned this about 100 times now in our newsletters and things, but we are looking for a new warranty technician. One of our guys left not too long ago, actually to work for Go, and it's left kind of a hole in the roster. So we definitely need new warranty tech and customer service workers. So kind of one big job, but if you know anyone that's looking for a job that's local to Markham or relatively local, give us a shout. Send us an email.
I know a guy, but he's not local. That's the problem.
That's the thing. We always get these messages, and it's like, yeah, I live in Sydney, Australia, and if you had an office here, I'd work for you, but I live here, so I can't. Like, thanks.
Not everybody is fortunate enough to be a remote worker, and then for those who don't want to be a remote worker, they're not able to go back to work, depending on where you are, of course. But because everything, I hate to bring it up, it's one of those things, but how's everybody coping now in Toronto? Like, I'm in Ottawa, so I kind of have an idea, but just for everybody watching, in the essence, you guys are going back to the office, like
more or less. like I said, we're trying to bring on some new people in the very near future, as soon as we can. Actually, we hired someone last week to do a lot of our more kind of customer service, order kind of related stuff. It's getting back to normal. I go back and forth. I'm in Peterborough now, but I'm usually in the office 3 days a week, and I work at home the other two, and then I'm usually working on the weekends too, just to get caught up on everything. But yeah, things are getting back to normal, which is nice. Everyone's kind of mostly back in the office again.
We've got a question
Sure.
From James. Jordan, has Rapido looked into the idea of the Berkshire, the Canadian version?
Those were TH&B, I think, weren't they? TH&B?
Yes. Yeah, James is a huge TH&B guy.
Right now, we're not doing too much more with this. Well, we're doing a lot with the steam line. We're not doing much beyond that list that we kind of very enthusiastically announced just before I started, actually, back in 2015. I remember Jason and the guys, they announced like 10 different steam locomotives. That turned out to be a little bit too enthusiastic. It was the whole plan was to release like 2 steam locomotives a year, and I think we're on our second one in 6 years. So I think we're going to get through the lineup that we have now, unless something happens and we get really excited about a different project that might kind of jump the line. But in terms of steam, this is probably going to keep us busy for at least the next 8 to 10 years, just getting through all the steam line. There's a lot to do.
That's actually one of my questions, because I was going to ask. I mean, it's not part of whatever we're doing here tonight, but the CN H6 and the CPR D10, where are we at with those?
So that's been an interesting kind of. Those are very interesting projects. They're very similar to each other, and we've had no similarity into the reception we've had. The D10's been huge. We sold tons and tons of them. It's in production right now, actually. The H6 CNR H6 numbers, and we don't understand why. They've just been the pre-orders were terrible. They were so bad that we didn't even have enough to pay the tooling cost to put in the tooling, which is really weird. It's a CN steam locomotive. Yeah. So it's kind of right now on indefinite kind of hiatus. It's not going away, but I think we're gonna revisit it after the D10, and after we get through with the CP H1s, H1As and Bs, the standard Hudsons, the Empress. We don't want to release like 3 CP steam locomotives in a row and not have anything for the CN guys. So we're going to revisit that probably next year at some point.
And that I guess I would bring up a follow-up question, because I'm sure everybody was shocked. I believe it was Christmas Day. Mm-hmm. It was noted, and we're going to go back to 2021 for a minute, and visit the Empress, of course. Yep. Another line of it's an offshoot of the Hudson, right? So the tooling is somewhat similar, or are you reworking everything?
A lot of the tooling is new. The drive mechanism is overall the same. A couple of small improvements, I think, but new body, new tender, new cabs, all that stuff is pretty much new that goes around the drive system. But otherwise, the drive is pretty much comparable, just different details that go onto it, which makes the project a lot more easy to kind of work with.
They look nice too. I mean, I was already impressed with the Royal Hudsons. I know a lot of people are wondering where the cars are for the Royal Hudson.
We get a lot of questions about that. The problem is we did, depending on when, like CP's used a variety of business cars. There's the smooth side XCN cars that we did. We did those about 10 years ago. The tooling on those is just, it's garbage. It's totally worn out. So that has to be redone from the ground up. And then everything else. Sorry, go ahead.
So I was going to say, are you referring to the Super Continentals? Or?
Yes. Yeah. We did those cars years ago, the excursion cars, and the tooling it's shot. So there's a lot of people that have been asking us like, when are you going to do them again? And we'd love to. It's an expense. So it's something we do want to do at some point.
I think it's because everybody was so impressed with the dining car that you guys did, not too long ago. And they're like, I want the original coach cars
But
this tooling, like the wheel sets, couplers, lighting.
The diamond car was a huge improvement on the old stuff. Jason, I think, will be the first to admit that a lot of the stuff that we did years ago, like the turbo, needed a lot of work to bring it up to modern standards. So something we definitely want to do, but yeah, like I said, very little of the old Supercontinental tooling from back then is very little of it's actually usable anymore, unfortunately.
There's a shelf date on those, right?
yeah, exactly.
So I've got a quick question here, and this is a good question because we haven't heard too much about these in a while. Timothy asks, Jordan, got any idea when the N scale F40s will arrive?
Late spring, early summer. We actually shipped the entire shipment back to the factory. We were really not happy. They actually arrived a while ago, and we tested them out, and they didn't run right. So we said, nope. We hated to do it because it's a hit to the pocketbook when you have to set an entire production line back, a production run. But they've gone back to the factory. They're reworking every single model. We got some new samples. We're looking at doing maybe a video in April sometime. And as soon as they're ready to ship back, they will be back on the way. I'd love to have a better date, but I don't right now. So we'll just have to kind of play that by ear.
I can honestly really appreciate that because you're not willing to just say, well, they're here, there you go, because you guys are all modelers and you say, okay, well, look, I tried it. And whatever it was that, you guys didn't like or whatever it was that was wrong with them, you as a modeler can say, well, look, I wouldn't want to, buy this or have to send it back. It's okay if it's like ones and twos that, something happens out of like however many a production run does, but to send it all back and say, nope, redo it. You got to show a lot of love and appreciation for that because some might just say, well, let's, we'll cross that bridge later. But very, 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 very cool. So
yeah, we didn't want to do that with these, so they're getting reworked, totally reworked chassis around that.
Well, the HO ones got so much love, and I've got a whole bunch, and I love every single one of them. I can't wait for more.
I think we've got 3 or 4 releases of VF 40s now.
Yeah. I feel bad at this point. The N scale guys, they're missing out because I know that when you guys do something in a HO scale, when you bring it down to N scale, it's not missing anything. It's the exact same, but just a smaller scale, and I love it. It's great. It's a good time to be an N scale modeler if you can see that small.
Yeah, I will say it's been a bit slow in terms of new N scale announcements as of late. We got lots of stuff coming. Like we've got the N scale buses are going to be here in April. We've got the SP box car. We got the N scale coal hoppers. They're all kind of coming along in production. The N scale coal hoppers actually they're going into production after the order deadline next month. But we do have more stuff coming on the way. There's been people worried that we're not doing N scale anymore, but there is stuff in design right now. I was actually looking at one of our N scale projects. We were talking about that this morning. So maybe in the next month or two, we should have some new N scale models announced.
Well, here we had a sneaky announcement about the GP38 not too long ago. Glenn wants to know what the cutoff date for that is.
We don't know yet. We like most of pretty much everything that we do. We won't announce or close an order deadline until we have samples. We're still pretty far off from having a tooling sample in the G38 right now. Might have one by the end of the spring. I'm rough estimate, maybe mid-year deadline. It's either way. It's not going to be 2022 release. It's going to be probably this time next year, just vaguely. It's typically taking about 18 months to get a product from launch to delivery at this point, thanks to a lot of the shipping issues, especially.
Now, with the changeover of the website, which I'm sure we'll touch on from time to time here, because there's a lot with it. But will you guys be adding more detail parts or spare parts, and stuff like that, so that people can order to either upgrade a DC unit that they might have bought from you, things like that. That's a question that comes from Luca.
Absolutely. So right now our website's kind of it's in the process of kind of coming together. We obviously launched the new website. What was it, in January, February, something like that. There's a lot of bugs. It's being worked through. There's some issues with accounts and stuff like that. The main thing to know is like we've kind of our old system was kind of a standalone website. We had a standalone accounting software. Warehouse was totally separate from everything. So this new system we put in place, once it's finally working properly, everything is going to be bundled into one program, kind of like a hub of everything that happens at Rapido. And there have been a lot of things that haven't quite fallen into place properly. So it's a work in progress. A lot of stuff, like if you look at your account in the website, you might see that you have no orders. The orders are there. It's just they haven't migrated them into the site. It's taken a lot of work to get kind of all these things to talk to each other, different programs. So it's come along, but there's still some time to go. Now, in terms of decoders, that's something we've been working on before. So Robin left just 2-3 weeks ago. He just finished rewriting all of our decoder manuals. So hopefully before too long, especially once we can get a new person in the office to help do a lot of this stuff, we'll have the decoders available once again. We have a lot of requests for those, to say the least.
I think there was some for the Rapido paint and certain bits and whatnot as well. Decoders.
Yeah. Bits we're definitely looking at getting more of. The paint line. Right now, the paint line is kind of not happening. The factory, we were actually using a local supplier in the GTA, and they've left the market. So we're kind of up a creek without a paddle right now. We're hoping to we'd like to get it back into production, but finding someone that makes paint quantities in the little jars is not, nobody really wants to do that. Because they want to make barrels of paint, not little jars. So we really like to get it back, but right now it's probably not in the short term anyways, unfortunately.
So we're going to take a step back to the CPR. Scenic Rail Productions wants to know if the 2816 CPR will have the extra water car modeled as well.
We discussed that. I know Bill, this is Bill's project. We looked into it. The big problem was the cost to tool that extra water car is pretty substantial. You're talking $75,000, $85,000 just for the tooling for that car alone. And if you just make it as a standalone item for one road number, we're never going to make enough to actually break even on it. So we could put it in the sets, but then if the set is now $150 more expensive, it's a tough call. It's a really tough call. But we are aware of it, so maybe one day we'll see if we can do that in the future.
Now let's talk about the Fruhoff trailer.
Yeah,
I didn't butcher the name. It's well, I mean, it's great because it goes with your flat cars, right?
Yeah.
That's what they were originally. Well, it wasn't released at the same time, but like shortly thereafter.
Yeah. So we announced these a while back. They went into tooling. We actually got the first samples. There's some issues, some minor issues with them that still were being worked out. Let me see if I can bring up the sales pack for that one as well. Make sure I get the latest version, because we actually added some extra SKUs. Bear with me for 1 sec. I'll bring this up. So here we go. You should be able to see that in a sec there.
Yep. There we go.
All right. So these are the Fruhoff trailers. This particular sales pack was the new ones we added. Originally, when we announced these, we just did the different road names, different paint schemes. A lot of people asked us for undex, so these were all added, and you can see all the different versions we've got here. There's actually 7 different body styles. Either the vertical ribs or the horizontal ribs. You've got the side doors. You've got 35 footers, which are more. That was a Pennsylvania Railroad kind of. I think Pennsy had a lot of them. I think there was several different road names that had those as well. Then you have the larger 40-foot cars, which came along in the 50s and late 50s, 60s, and 70s. So you can see all the different versions. We have another sales pack somewhere that has all the different paint schemes, or you can just go to our website and see them. They are all kind of U.S. road names on these. We do get a lot of requests for Canadian ones, though. So we'd really like to do some Canadian trailers, maybe sometime in the future. But these order deadlines are coming up tomorrow.
Yep. Those are really nice.
Yeah.
Lots of variety there, too.
Yeah. We actually had a video that we did. I think Jeremy posted a video about them last week. So if you go to our YouTube channel, you can see them there. Tooled samples and the CAD renderings.
So those most of those that we just talked about, like the RS11, RS18. Oh, we didn't mention the RSC14 though.
Yeah, so I've actually got photos of those too. We've got the RSC14s and the RS18Us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's another project that's coming up pretty soon. Tomorrow again. I'm actually showing the RS18s first because I think that's just what I had on my screen here. I think I've got both of them in here. This is the pre-production samples.
Very nice.
Yeah. So this is an early sample. Again, this isn't complete. You can see some things like some steps are missing. Some of the etched parts are missing. This is the RS18U. We've got a whole bunch of different road names. I believe Otter Valley's doing. Correct me if I'm wrong. They're doing an exclusive on some different road names because OSR had these.
Yep, they're basically like a plain black.
Yeah.
Between that and the Ottawa Central as well looks really
nice.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, these are neat engines. They're CP rebuilds in the 80s. They last actually a lot of them are still around. They've had pretty good lives after their rebuilds. So these are going to go right into production probably next month. So tomorrow's the deadline for that. And like I mentioned, we've got a whole bunch of interesting paint schemes. Mm-hmm. One thing we actually did a lot of short lines in this run, which we typically don't do. Mm-hmm. But we sold that to the boss, saying we got to do some of these. So there's some neat schemes in this run.
I like that you guys do touch on a lot of the short lines as well. I feel like in some cases they get forgotten, but you guys usually have it very well covered with the OSR, ONR.
Yep.
It's great.
There's kind of a slightly tilted look at the RSC14. There's actually a couple different versions of this. The filter packs. There's 2 different versions of filter pack. Dan Darnell is the expert on these, so he knows a lot more about it than I do. But these are going to turn out really nicely. And we do have this features rotating bearing caps. So that's a neat feature of these units. Keep in mind too, these are pre-production, so they might look a little beat up, but gives you a pretty good idea of what you're going to get.
Looks nice. I find that a lot more manufacturers are doing the rotating bearing cuff thing. More and more.
They tend to be a bit of a maintenance headache, but a lot of people like them. So
it's that little thing that you don't really notice unless you're close enough. But if you're taking pictures or photo of your models and whatnot, it's that little bit of close up that adds so much.
Absolutely, just that little bit of extra touch to them.
With the RS18Us, you're looking at some CP multi-mark, non-multi-mark, the New Brunswick New Brunswick
East Coast, I believe.
Yeah, and then the OSR and Ottawa Central as well. Nice. I wondered if anybody was ever going to do that. I know that Highball was selling the decals for that, but I never remembered seeing any of the RS18Us as a kit. I think Caslow might have done it.
I think so, yeah.
But never ready to run like that, or ready to roll, whatever you call it.
I used to, when I was a kid, because most of my family was in Ottawa, and I used to just wander into Walkley back in the late 90s, and they'd just be all lined up. The RS18Us be all lined up on the shop track there. It was really neat. So.
For things that are showing up, let's say the things that have recently showed up,
Mm-hmm.
or yeah, I guess we could talk about the barrel ore hoppers. You
Yep.
guys just received those.
So yep, they just arrived about a week ago. They arrived along with the new Haven EP5 electrics. Uh, Things have been a little bit slow getting out of the warehouse. So everyone's just kind of bear with us a little bit. Our systems are still kind of coming into place. Like I said, all our computer systems our warehouse management system is all integrated into the new site. So they're having to do a couple of things by hand still. But these should be a lot of these have already started shipping out, so they should be hitting the stores anytime now. They might already, we might almost already be hitting some of the shops, but I don't know off the top of my head which ones. So, but either
So
way, very soon.
with that, there's the CN large, the ONR large, which you're seeing on screen. Then there's also the CN smaller and the ONR in the smaller as well, and then the scale test car.
Yep. Well, these
Which
are the short barrels on the screen right now.
yeah,
Don't mind the colors. The way my screen might be interpreting this is a bit more fluorescent than it is. It actually doesn't look like that in person, but
well, the scale test car does look a little salmon, but
yeah, but it's not like that in person. It's much more less vibrant. It's the way the screen decided to interpret the image.
and it's 2 packs of 6 each that are available. Yeah, I'm sure you're also, well, whoever is selling them in singles. And of course, Otter Valley has an extra run of both of these that you see on screen here. So
Yep.
an extra 6 CN and an extra 6 ONR in the Chevron to make an 18 car train if you just love the ONR or just the CN each. Or you can build a really, really long train. I like that. I like because, when most manufacturers do some cars, okay, we'll do, 6 and then
Yeah, yeah,
what if you want to build a full train, right? It makes it difficult, but this here that really helps. So yeah,
absolutely.
that's
And
awesome.
these are neat too because I mean this is actually one of our best selling freight cars ever,
Really.
if you can believe that or not. Partially because they're sold in sets, but it's weird because it was such a weird, such a regional specific train, like
Mhm.
Northern Ontario to Hamilton and back. That was really it. Some of them made their way out to the west coast of the U.S., out to Washington State, repainted. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's just such a neat car.
Well, you guys did an amazing job on those. Shameless plug. I did a review. I got some of the samples here
Mm-hmm.
that Rapido was nice enough to send me, and
I
you
still
guys
haven't
go
shared
check
it
out
with
the
you
video.
though. I have to put
It's
it
all,
up soon. I've been waiting for them to actually ship out. So,
it's all good. It's all yeah. But yeah, go check it out. It's kind of like a try it before you buy it, but only I'm trying it for you, and I can tell you that they're a stand up car. They're awesome. Get a bunch of them. Yeah, they're awesome.
yeah.
But yeah, with those, also you were mentioning the oh no, that's sorry, the New Haven EP5. You said that
Yes.
that's not here yet. That's on its way still with the
They've
cars, right?
actually arrived. So the EP5s arrived with the barrel ore hoppers. So if you're a New Haven fan or a Penn Central fan, modeling the Northeast, that's definitely an engine that you want to grab. Obviously, nothing that ran in Canada, but they're really neat. They've got the operating pantographs, like it's all DCC operated. Raise your pantograph, lower it back down, change its directions automatically. Really neat model.
That when you guys did the video for that, I'm not a big fan, but it looks like such an amazing, like how it was, and then when you flip it in reverse, one drops and the other, like the
Yeah.
whole pantograph system.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not something I would use, but I was really blown away by that. That looks like you could do anything at that point.
Absolutely. And it once they figured out how to properly do the pantographs, that may open up the market for us to do more electrics in the future.
Now, is it just track powered though, or can you actually power it by pantograph?
It's just track powered. I'm sure there will be some people that know how to convert them over. I think we looked at doing it, but it was it added a whole bunch of complexity to the project, and they wanted to keep it a little more simple, I think, in that regard. It was already a very complex model, so
I feel like that would open up a whole new genre, you know, DC,
yeah.
DCC, and then pentagraph.
It's
You know
it's
what I mean?
actually common. I think it's more common in Europe.
Yeah.
A lot of companies do that where you can actually operate, like, pull in power from the overhead catenary. But it's something to consider in the future anyway.
It definitely opens up a few doors, that's for sure.
Mhm.
The GLA hoppers.
Oh yeah, those actually shipped already. Those shipped out in February, I believe. That's the kind of the transition era coal hopper.
Yeah.
Another one of Bill's projects. They didn't
So
quite
that's
go
already
as well.
hitting stores then, right?
Yeah, they should be in stores now. I think they shipped about 3 weeks ago, 2, 3 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. It was another one where it was kind of got caught up in shipping forever and ever, and finally arrived.
So most of these are what I'm mentioning right now should be available now, or they've either just arrived and whatnot. So the Evans X72 boxcar, the X72A boxcar,
Hmm.
they've already gone out to stores as well, right?
They are shipping now as well. I think, yeah, those have been shipping out too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if I'm getting them mixed up with the barrel ore cars in terms of which shipped out at the same time, but they are in the process of being shipped out. So
Okay.
I used to know more about this stuff when I was working in the warehouse all the time, but I don't see them as often as I used to.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we've covered so far for everybody, just as a recap, we've covered all the deadlines for March 15th, which is tomorrow. You'll see it scrolling across the bottom of the screen there. If you're hoping to get any of those, make sure you talk to your dealer today or tomorrow. Send off that email and make sure you reserve yours before they're all gone. We did talk about the things that are available now, and we mentioned a couple of things that were in transit, like the 59, the N scale new look bus. Which is there any? There's no difference between the HO and the N scale, right? It's just smaller, right?
Mostly small differences. I have photos of those around here somewhere too. They're on the boat right now. Should be here in about 3 weeks, I think. See if I can bring up those production photos. They're a little bit more simplified than the HO versions, obviously, because there's less stuff you can really add to them. But yeah,
I guess going forward, the only thing you could really do now is find more locations to do, like Brampton or Mississauga, if anybody wants to really buy a Brampton bus. But
yeah. So that's can you see that on the screen there? The N scale.
Yep. That's the N scale one, right?
So that's the bus that couldn't slow down. We already know about that one.
Keanu.
What's that?
Keanu.
Yeah, exactly. So that's you see all the underbody detail there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Again, you can see some of the small details a little bit more simplified, some of the logos and stuff like that. But we've added as much as we pretty much could. There's the Go version.
N scale still come a long way, though.
Oh yeah, yeah. This has been pretty nice for an N scale vehicle. These are tiny too. They're like only a couple inches long, but it's nice to see all that, a lot of that same detail, because we use the same 3D scan as the HO versions to do these, to downscale the design. There's TTC and the different all kinds of different versions. If I keep scrolling through here, there's the more modern TTC version sitting on my desk. And these ran till TTC ran until 2011, so you can, I mean, pretty much if you're modeling 1959 into the 2010s, you can hypothetically use these. And there's some kind of generic versions that's kind of related to Montreal, I believe, on this one. Yeah. So
It's really nice.
Just a couple weeks, probably 2-3 weeks out, early mid-April.
And I'm sure dealers still have some of the HO scale ones. If you guys are still looking for buses, they're still available. Go get them. Go buy them up. They're really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so just the other day, I believe it was Friday, Thursday or Friday. I can't remember now. Every day, all these days melt together. You guys announced one of the biggest things I find, anyways. One of the biggest things that I feel like I've been waiting for. Every time you guys do a live, I'm like, when will the turbo come? When are we getting a turbo? When will we get this new turbo? I need a turbo. I missed out. You said 2008 was roughly about when the version 1 was delivered.
Yeah, that's almost 15 years ago now. Hard to believe. But
Where has time gone?
This is kind of Jason's favorite thing ever. So he's brought it back. It's pretty much almost all new from the ground up. There's some basic elements of the original tooling that's going to be carried over, but very little. It's all new electronics, all new motors, all new drive system. Pretty much everything has been redesigned. Even the way the car is coupled together has been updated. And we just launched that on Thursday. I'll see if I can get the sales pack for that one out here too. That's the everything else. There we go. Yep. So we launched this late last week. Basically, we've done some other things that are different than the original as well. So you can see there's some of the variations or the updates from the original. But there's the way we've done some of the sets. We've tooled an additional intermediate car that was used on VNCN that was never available in the original run. And otherwise, it's pretty much a total redo of the original sets.
Now you're an Amtrak guy. Which of the two Amtraks you like the blue and red, right?
Probably the late Amtrak. That's probably one of the ones that I like a little bit better. I've always liked that scheme. So I might get one of those. I haven't decided yet, but I probably will in the end. But we've also got, I should mention, it's not on this pack, but we were also doing an exclusive with Otter Valley on one of the VIA sets, which is this is, I believe, there was 3 different VIA sets. I think he's doing, I can't remember which one it is, but it's the one with
CN VIA, I believe.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I believe that's the one. Yeah.
Which I don't even believe it was done in the first run. So.
No, there's a lot that we didn't do in the first run that we're doing now. So, like I said, the additional intermediate car that wasn't tooled. So it's an exciting project to revisit for the first time in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there it is. There, if you look at the pack, that's IC34. It was one of the Canadian turbo coaches that wasn't done.
They look really nice.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Even with the whole, because you guys are adapting the N scale connection between the cars to the HO, just for a better. I mean, we talked about it earlier. Trying to connect the older version of the turbo together. There's a little bit of a hassle with it, but this year might be a little bit more simplistic, I guess you could say.
Yeah, the way the whole set kind of gets put together is being updated. The connections between the cars are updated, so it'll be a lot more reliable than the original one was, to say the least.
So you're going to have a turbo and a turbo liner.
Yes.
Any update on the turbo liner?
We closed the order deadline last. What was that in? That was in February. We actually kept the dates open a little bit. We kept the books open a little bit later because of all the problems with the website. Mm-hmm. But that's been a hugely successful project. We actually sold a lot more than even the boss was thinking we would. So that's going into production right now. I think we're just finishing. Josh is finishing some last minute artwork updates, but otherwise it's good to go. So we should see those before the end of the year, anyways. Mm-hmm. It'll probably take several months of production, but we'll see where we are in the fall.
So back to the turbo, because now when the first one was released, it was the front and the back logo with a car, and then there was at least three or four other separate packs of cars. you guys took a little bit of a different approach this time, where you're selling more of a complete train as a set, and
Yeah,
then
so,
additional cars as well, right?
yep. So you can the Canadian sets in particular are available in 5-piece sets, and then you've got the 4-car add-on to give you the complete 9-car.
Mm-hmm.
If you'd like to buy the full set, so it makes it a little bit more simple than I think than having all the individual cars separately.
There was another question I had. I can't remember it. I'll come back to that.
No problem.
Really excited though. The cars will be lit and whatnot. Yeah.
Yep. So in terms of the lights, I think the old ones had like a big LED bulb in the cab and another. So the lighting system is totally redone. So we've got the micro SMDs all through the car, or all of the cars actually. All wheels are picking up power. There's a new wheel set design, all new motor design. Everything, gearboxes, everything has been redesigned. The old ones had an MRC decoder. These ones have what was it there? ESU V5 chips in them.
And do you think it'll come in a nice box and like a book?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I feel like
I don't know what it's going to look like yet. Probably something. I don't know if it's going to be similar to the last one, but it'll be somewhere along the same lines.
Yeah, I like what you guys did with the what's it called?
Like with the tempos or
The tempo. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, the tempo set, napkins, glasses, stuff like that. Really, it's a nice touch. I think it adds more value to the set as well. I mean, you've already got like a really nice locomotive and cars, but it's that little extra. It's very nice.
we're gonna do something along the same lines with the turboliner. It's gonna be like very much, I think, like the tempo. I don't know if we're gonna have like an extra glass in it or probably not, but it'll be kind of the same format as before.
I imagine the box being much bigger, seeing as how it'll be a lot more cars with the turbo.
Yeah, especially if you've got the 5-car. Well, you got the 5-car, and then you've got the 4-car add-on. So
Yeah.
we'll see how that turns out. I think that's why I think they wanted to do like 5 cars in the first pack just for that, so it could kind of be around the same size of packaging, more or less.
I think I might have to start a petition to get a Go Transit box set. I don't know. Those one of the ones that I sent off, the like a commemorative Go Transit where it's the F40 with the Hawker Siddeley cars.
Yeah.
I think that would be perfect as a box set.
I'm sure that will happen eventually.
I hope so.
Jason needs them for his layout. It's like the only thing that he doesn't have for his layout already. So we keep pestering him for it. At least the F40s.
With the Go stuff, I mean, I know a lot of guys in the Greater Toronto area, including myself, that grew up with Go Transit. We're starting to see more and more from you guys with the Go Transit stuff, and even the cars. Do you have any of the information on the cars with you?
I don't have a picture yet. We actually had a sample, but it was kind of like a half. It wasn't an assembled sample of the Go shells.
Mm-hmm.
I have had the Metrolink, not the Metrolinks, but the Los Angeles Metrolink cars. Mm-hmm. We did have some samples of those that came in not too long ago, and they're looking really good. So we're looking forward to those coming in. I think they're going to be ready to ship probably before too long from the factory. So probably have some to share pretty soon of those.
That opens up another door there with all the American road names that you guys haven't even touched on yet, and paint schemes as well.
Yeah, there's a lot that we can do with that. So like we didn't even do all the different body styles. Like there's a lot of ones we didn't do, like the Sounder up in Seattle. There's a whole bunch of them we haven't done. There's like Caltrain and lots of different schemes. So lots for the next run.
Fingers crossed for a wrap as well. A car that's wrapped. You always see those.
There's a lot of kind of licensing issues with that, but that would be really cool if we could do that. Get some proper licensing for that. That would be.
I think it would be easier with because there are wraps that are just Metrolinks based, and if you already have the permission to do Metrolinks as a car, I feel like it would be easier to do a Metrolinks wrap. The trick is selling like over 300 of them, right? It's tough. It's tough sell, but I'd look forward to it. And those cars, I know they're gonna work really well. So very exciting stuff. But that brings us back to the turbo. because and I had mentioned this to you earlier, and I just want to know what your input is, or if you want to share your input.
Sure.
I find that Rapido does a lot of locomotives or cars that you can expand on, and that's from different road names, multiple numbers, and whatnot. With the turbo, that's basically what we're getting is what we're getting as far as numbers, car numbers, paint scheme. That's it. There wasn't. There's no real part 3 to this, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much else you can really do with it. Like the same with the turboliner, it is what it is. It's one of those things where like the turboliner will probably do this release, and we won't do another release for 15 years probably. But I mean, that's the interesting stuff. But then you have all the other stuff kind of sprinkled in, like the gondolas. We've done about 3 or 4 releases of those now. Some of our Canadian hoppers, like a 3,800 cubic foot hopper. We've done, I think, 3 releases of those, 2 or 3 releases. That kind of stuff you can keep making. And then certain locomotives, like the RS platform is a good example of that, where like we've done the RS18, we've done another run of RS8s, like the chop noses, the RSC14s, more RS11s, and there's a lot of different ways that we can go with that. I mean, it's a flexible platform, so you can get many more runs out of it.
And even looking at the GP38 as well, doesn't that kind of open up some doors there as well?
Oh, absolutely. That's one of those projects that we'll keep on giving. This run we've done only American roads. They were Jeep 38s. There were some in Canada, like you had the Jeep 38 ACs that the CP had. Most of the Canadian units were Dash 2s, which is different. We'll probably leave the Dash 2s to Athearn, what they've done. And they continue to do in the Genesis line. But we're really excited with the 38s, and there's stuff we can do with that too. Most 4-axle EMDs of that era kind of use the same basic platform. So there's a lot of different ways we can go.
Do you find that you guys get more requests for American models, or is it mostly because you guys are known for doing a lot of Canadian stuff? Is it do the Canadian stuff first, and if it has a US prototype, why not?
Used to be like that, but realistically, like we're always doing new Canadian stuff, and we will continue to do that. A lot of the newer stuff, the American market is just so much bigger. It's 10 times bigger than the Canadian market. So it doesn't mean the Canadian stuff will necessarily come first, but there will be, like, pretty much for anything. I mean, like I said, if it's that basic platform, they'll come at some point. But yeah, the American market really has it's really exploded since the early days anyway, of when we were just mostly doing Canadian stuff and a little bit of American stuff on the side.
I like the stuff that's universal too. That you can kind of put out some Canadian stuff that is more or less American, and like the Procore tankers, they did really, really well, and I think they sold out super quick. You guys sold out right from the start.
Oh yeah, I think there was a handful left, but I think they're virtually sold out now. The HO ones, the N scale ones are actually on the way. I think they're coming next month.
That's exciting. They needed a car like that, because honestly, they're hard to come by, as even Procore. But yeah, I love mine. So
oh yeah, and guaranteed we'll probably do another run of the Procore tanks. The GP20 tanks, we'll definitely do another run. Maybe not right away, but in the next probably couple of years. They'll be back with new numbers.
Now, with the vehicles, you guys are known for doing the buses. It's great. And you got a couple of cars. Now, did you ever find a car guy to, and you feel free to put it out there if you still haven't found someone yet, the plug for you guys to find somebody in the Markham area that is a car guy, in and out, for detailing the models and whatnot. Are you still looking for somebody for that?
Like to actually design cars, or?
Yeah, the model cars.
Yeah, we've done like the Caprice. We did mostly kind of back and forth in house. I worked on that with Josh and Dan Darnell. We've got a couple other vehicles we're working on. We've got some other people we're working with right now that are kind of helping us design some more vehicles. So we'll have some more stuff sometime not too distant future. Definitely a lot of vehicles we want to do. I've actually got I haven't shared this yet. I've got some photos of the Caprices and Impalas. These are actually another thing that's coming in really soon. These are going to be here in about 3 weeks. They're coming in the same shipment, like I said, with the N-scale buses. But this has been a project that I've personally been wanting to do for a long time. It conveniently works for Jason, but because for his Lego. But I've been wanting to do these for ages and ages, and this was kind of the probably one of the most popular vehicles of the 1980s, and they were absolutely everywhere. So we got our wagons. If I scroll through quickly, I can see some of the other ones, different colors. So yeah, we have both the Caprice and the Impalas. We got different grills, different light bars. We got 3 or 4 different wheels that you can choose from, the wire wheels, hubcaps, like the dog dishes and stuff like that. So there's a lot that we can do with this. But I'm pretty excited for these myself.
Have you held them in your hands at all?
Oh yeah, these were actually on my kitchen table when I took these photos. So
well, for the guys who love to customize things, because these don't light up or anything, right?
These don't have lights. You could light them up. We wanted to keep the cost down, but you could very easily do that. The headlights are actually drilled out. The way the glass kind of just fits in there.
Oh, nice.
And if you wanted, we could maybe do something with the tail lights. A little bit more difficult to do that, but I'm sure some modelers will be able to modify that. Same with the light bars too.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah, because I mean, obviously with the obviously the police cars and whatnot, you got your flashing lights. I know a lot of guys do that with other cars, or a lot of people are 3D printing. But if it's already set up and everything, and all they got to do is add the LEDs, and I mean that's perfect, right?
Oh yeah. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing what people can do with this. It'll be really neat. You see, there's a lot of guys out there that do that with HO vehicles now. They'll put in headlights, turn signals, tail lights, light bars, all that kind of stuff.
Now with doing licensing, as far as like going from locomotives to now vehicles, do you find there's much of a difference, or is it tougher to get the licensing for vehicles?
Licensing for, like, we've been working with GM for, we started with this about 2 years ago. It's like the car itself is fully licensed. Like, we had to do everything, like submit all our designs, everything, right? Even down to social media. We couldn't even do social media unless they approved it.
Wow.
They've been very good to work with, but we have to run everything by them pretty much. We are trying to work on some other manufacturers right now too, some other big brands. So we'll see how that turns out.
I could definitely picture you guys doing some old Cadillacs too, like a Fleetwood or something. There's a lot of car guys. I find that you can mix the two hobbies very, very easily. For me, I love the buses. Huge fan of just collecting buses. Again, that's a whole other genre right there, but it's nice to be able to incorporate these things and manage them as well. And you guys are producing the heck out of these things, and it's great. It's good to open your palette a little bit and try different things, and I think it'll work out really well for you guys.
For sure. And I mean, like, there's actually a huge collector's market for just vehicles. There's a lot of, like, the 187th Vehicle Club and stuff like that. It's a very popular thing just on its own, even for guys that don't have trains.
Mike is asking if the cars are out yet, but you said they're on their way, right?
Yeah, they've actually been. That was one of the things I mentioned before. They've been on their way for months and months since they shipped from the factory first week of January, and they just got stuck in shipping hell since then. So it's been frustrating, but they're finally going to get here after 3.5 months.
Another one of the announcements, because how do you follow up with the cars? Well, you guys are doing the Procore 3000 square foot sodium chlorate hoppers.
Yep, so that's the other one we just announced. I'll bring this up.
That's a mouthful. Jeez. Sodium chlorate hopper.
Yep. There we go. So that's another. This is another all new tooling. It's actually in tooling right now, so we should have the first samples in this probably early spring or mid spring. But these were, I mean, if you're doing the paper industry, anything that kind of that kind of industry, this is a great car for that. We got two different body types. There's one version that has kind of these railings on the top, and another that doesn't. So this particular version, there's two that we've got. There's the 98 and the 2000 builds. There were some earlier ones in the early 90s. We haven't done those yet, but we're going to look at doing those in the future as well. But really, for the paper industry, these were pretty important cars. They're still out there.
Looking at the actual prototype photo of the car, it looks like a very reflective aluminum side.
Yeah, it's an aluminum car. Like it's not painted or anything like that, so it's very reflective. We're going to see how we're actually going to replicate that. I don't know if it's going to be kind of like how we did the RDCs, kind of that stainless finish. Not going to be the exact same, but we're going to have to experiment a couple different ways of painting these in any case.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because with the cylindrical hoppers, I mean, at least you've got like a color to choose from. But that's not even a color; it's just metal.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be interesting. I've actually got some of the CAD drawings here. So that's the early CAD. They're not finished yet, I think entirely, but I think they're going to tooling now, or just about ready to go to tooling. Where you see the different variations. And this is actually a new truck on here too. So I can't remember what Hydra Shock or something like that. I'm probably not saying that right, but it's a new truck design that we haven't done before. Yeah.
No, this is just painted white, right? Like, is it, or is
this is actually just a CAD rendering. It's not actually a model. So but the guys have been working on different ways of kind of rendering.
That looks so real.
Yeah, it's a really nice job.
You would have fooled me.
It's going along pretty nicely in the last few years.
That's cool.
Not a real car yet, but it will be pretty soon. We should have the samples, like I said, probably in mid-spring, late spring. We'll keep those orders open until we got the samples in hand.
That's really neat. Yeah, the finish, I was very intrigued with how, because I do paper myself, and to be honest, I didn't even notice them. I think I was too taken in with the turbo, and my mind was turbo. And then my friend asked me, he said, are you going to get any of those, sodium cars or whatever? And I'm like, why? I'm so busy looking at this turbo right now. And he's like, well, you're going to need some. Not a lot, but you'll need some.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even realize that, they work with the paper mills and whatnot. And I'm like, oh, just take my wallet. It's good, though. It's good. And you guys also did announce, which I think huge shadow cast over everything else when you do the turbo at the same time, but the GN 12 panel 40-foot box car as well.
Yeah, so that's another kind of transition car. Another one of Bill's kind of, it's been on his list for a while. It would have run in Canada, more probably not as often as you would have seen them in the States, but it's kind of just a general home-built GN car. Don't know terribly a lot about them myself. It's more of a 50s thing, but they're kind of neat in their own way. Show that quickly there. This actually would have been pretty common, probably out west, especially in Western Canada. GN had a lot of interchange out that way.
These are really nice as well. Good variety there. The 40-foot cars.
But they're unique. They're a little bit different than some of the other 40-footers that have been done in the past. So unique bodies anyway.
Still a lot of detail that goes into a car like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into it. I mean, even getting the different body variations. I know on that car there's like different ends and a couple of different kind of finer details. So.
Oh, that's cool. I think that might have been it. Did you have anything else to show us?
I think that's pretty much everything. So we can just do questions or whatever.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, just throw them up. If I missed your question earlier, so I was thinking about the turbo. So yeah, just throw them up there again. We'll answer some questions. Mostly Jordan though, because I don't know anything. I just play with trains, so I'm just an enthusiast. What projects are you excited for? Besides, obviously the turbo liner, but what are you excited for?
Well, I'm actually, as much as I'm a train guy, I really like the car stuff. Like I really pushed for that particular car, and then we've actually got some more. We've got, I think, 3 or 4 more cars I'm kind of working on right now. But there's a lack of vehicles for certain eras. There's a lot of 50 stuff, and then not a lot of anything else. So it's something I'm pushing for more. So we're going to see how that goes over the next year or so.
Are they coming in like a little jewel case, kind of like a little box?
Yeah, they come with a little plastic case in the stand. They're screwed out of the bottom, so you just take them apart, and if you want to put them on your layout, just really, really straightforward. There's a little box with them.
Okay, so we got a couple of questions here. Make sure. Okay, so we've got Cornell Custom Trains is asking about a Via park car.
Park car, maybe one day. That's probably going to be, if we get around to it, probably one of the last ones we get to. They've been working on so we announced the manners and the baggage dorm, and they've been working on that for a while because the tooling had to be redone. The tooling on all of them has to be cleaned up and modernized.
Yeah.
That's been like 2 years now, I think, since that process started. I think we're probably going to look at doing maybe the coaches or the chateaus, maybe the dining cars next. We just did another run of the Skylines, second run of the Skylines. So park car maybe, but that likely will be the last one we get back to. So
correct me if I'm wrong, but and it's just a thought. Is Justin or Justin? You're Justin. Is Jason's thought to do another Canadian, but piece it out?
We won't do a complete Canadian. Kind of the idea has been to do these individual cars. So we won't make a set that big again. That would be it's too much work to do all at the same time. And it was I think it was before I was working at the company, but the Canadian was in production for ages and ages and ages, and it was massive. And I don't think we'll be revisiting that again. Especially we've been rerunning the F units, the FP9s, the FP7s, the F9Bs, the baggage cars, the manners, the Skylines. We've just been doing pieces here and there over the last few years. And it seems to be the best way of doing things.
Because you guys still have that the baggage and the sleeper as well, right?
Yeah. So the baggage car, the baggage dorm, and the manners, they're in production. It's been slow, but they are working on that. Very slowly, slower than we expected, but they are coming along.
We've got a question from Toronto. Greg wants to know what the possibility of a single level Go Transit coach would be. We were talking about this earlier, actually.
Yeah, we all want them. I want them. Everybody in the company wants them. There's a lot of Go stuff that we haven't done that we want. It's I don't know. I think we'll probably do them one day. Maybe we're just going to keep nagging the boss about it. But the single levels we have to do them at some point, or someone has to do them.
Big picture there. I mean, you're covering Ontario Northland as well at the same time. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there, me to you. But my emails aren't getting through. It's all good.
I need them myself. So yes, one day I hope.
And then you can do a video right downtown Toronto at the one on display, huh?
Yes.
There's an idea at the Roundhouse or whatever.
Well, what's his name? Chris does a lot of the restoration stuff.
Balestri, yeah.
Yeah. He did a lot of the work to get that car into the Roundhouse.
Oh, really?
He was involved in that. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've been down to it, but last time I was there, the doors were shut. They wouldn't let me in.
That's too bad. I haven't actually been in it yet. I need to go down there.
I don't blame them, though.
It's been a while. COVID and all that. Hopefully that's coming to an end soon.
For our N scalers, CP Rail Whiskey Creek in N scale wants to know if there's going to be any Go Transit stuff in N scale. Is that something that you guys could possibly touch on?
We might. I don't know when, but we do get a lot of requests for that.
I feel like almost like you guys might be testing the waters to see how well these cars, and if they do really well, then in the future it would definitely open up more doors to do more road names, more numbers, paint schemes.
The HO cars have done very well, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get the N scale cars eventually. That's definitely a possibility.
And okay, here's a good one. John Train, BFGR, Northern Alberta Railway.
I can't see a lot happening right now.
Is it too niche?
We did the GMD ones years back. I think we did them in N scale and HO. Might be a bit niche. I mean, it's the only product that I have to really go by. We haven't really sold anything else NAR, so possible. I mean, if we find something that's been something else that we make that definitely the NAR had, absolutely.
See, I think that's something that I'm also waiting for is another run of GMD ones. I think that it was a really, really well done locomotive, something that sells in like twos, but
yeah.
Is it still too soon from when the last run, It's about
surprisingly, if you can believe it, the last run of HO GMD ones was 5 years ago. We only did the rebuilds once, so
yeah,
we get a lot of people asking for those. I think we should do them.
I think it would be a good thing. It's tough. Now you're a numbers guy, right? You sit in the room, you have all these discussions. When a locomotive, right? How many does it need to be? Like what are we looking at as far as numbers? Because a lot of people will say, well, I want this locomotive in this paint scheme. Realistically, how many do you have to sell in order for it to be, worth it to do that?
It depends on the locomotive and the price point. I can't say too much about like specifics, but I mean, you're looking at a couple thousand at a bare minimum. And in terms of a paint scheme, for any paint scheme we like to have, especially for exclusive runs, it's generally we like to see at least 300. If they don't make that, then the factory doesn't like doing numbers that are less than that because it takes them a lot of time to set up paint lines and stuff like that. But yeah, depends on the product.
And there's questions about the Series X Go Transit, the newest version of the coffin car, as they say.
I know Josh wants to do them. He's the Go. He designed the other the first run cars. I know he wants to do them. The first run's done pretty well, so we're going to keep the door open for that. And I think Seattle has those now too. I think Seattle got the new cars. If I'm not mistaken, or they were getting them. So the more road names, the better. Always sell things.
I think though, if that one gets done, then you guys will probably end up doing the coach cars in the other paint scheme as well, which give or take. I mean, I'll not mentioning other company names, but when it has been done in the past, a lot of people weren't a fan of the colors that were chosen for that. The pukey kind of comments, and it's like, I mean, it is what it is to an extent. It's never going to be dead on, but it's either you like a paint scheme or you don't. I'm a classics guy. I like the originals, but when you get into the cars like the Series X, you kind of have to look in the other direction when dealing with something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm sure we'll get to them eventually.
But the lighting,
we wouldn't. So
the lightings that you did, or the lighting, I should say, that you did for the cab car that's coming out, amazing. Like the end of the end car. Oh,
yeah.
I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, we got headlights, ditch lights, and I think it was The red markers. I don't know if they got the full class light package, but at least the red markers are going to be operating.
Do you know if there's a? Are you guys putting a decoder in there, or is it just track power?
As I recall, we talked about this with the comments, and it didn't work out. But with the bi-levels, I believe there's going to be a socket. Don't quote me on that because I might not be 100% on that part. But we were looking to do that. So if you want to have operating horns and stuff like that and bells, you can drop that in. I'd have to double check with Josh about how well that was actually coming along because I haven't been involved in that, but I think we were looking at doing something like that. Definitely, it's been a bit complicated because the whole circuit board stuff overseas it caused a lot of delays. So we looked at doing that with the comments, and we just had to pull it out of it.
I think we'll take just one or two more questions. I don't want to keep you too much longer. I already really appreciate you doing this. I love having you on here. It's one of those things. You guys are great. So I already really appreciate that. So that being said, let me take a look real quick. I know someone wants to know if we're going to get any of the Canadian GP38s.
We will at some point. CN had some G40s. CP had the G38 ACs. I don't see us doing the Dash 2s, but not right away anyway. But
no wide cabs, safety cabs.
Probably not because they were all the later ones, like the Dash 2s and upward. I mean, Atlas has covered those. Athlon covered those in the Genesis line. But you never know. I mean, it's all basically a shared platform, more or less. So possible.
Unless I missed anything, just to recap everybody, because you might have missed out and you might have just been joining us now or recently. We're talking about the March 15th deadline, which is tomorrow. You can see all the models that are due. It's scrolling across your screen right now. The deadline is tomorrow for those, so make sure you get that email into your local hobby store to reserve yours. I know I still got to reserve my M420s. Definitely need more of those. Super excited. We could do a quick April 14th deadline. The bulkhead flat cars, which you guys recently announced.
Yeah, the bulkheads. We're waiting on new samples. Hopefully in the next few weeks, but we're looking at doing the I think it's the 14th of April is going to be the deadline.
14th.
We want to get those into production pretty fast.
I had never seen a yellow ONR bulkhead flat car before, so I was taken back.
It was hard to find information on them. They did last. Some of them lasted pretty late, like into the 2010s. It's like a mid 70s, so 75. Some just approximately they were built.
Also, the Autoflood 3 coal hopper, that's the deadline for that is April 14th as well. And the U25B.
Yeah, we've got those, mostly American projects, but they're pretty neat nonetheless.
Make sure everybody you get your pre-orders in. You don't want to miss out. Don't take a chance. James is right. I do have to pre-order my turbo still.
You got lots of time. Realistically, we're probably not going to close that deadline for. Well, actually, we've got a deadline coming up in I think it's June. But I mean, it's going to be.
Is that when the somebody did ask that earlier? They said, "What is the deadline for the turbo?"
Yeah, I think that one's going to be June. But realistically, the release is going to be middle of next year sometime. So, I mean, we're probably going to make lots of extra stock, and so still get your order in anyways. But
were any of those conditional?
I think on the turbo.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No.
I think they're all. There's no conditional announcements on that.
All good, right across the board.
Yeah, exactly. We actually don't like to do too many conditional announcements because then it gets confusing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the only other thing, the last thing, this is from me because I didn't see any more questions. If you can give us just a quick time frame on the wide vision caboose. I love my O&R Angus vans,
Mhm.
just like most other Canadians, and of course the gondolas as well.
Gondolas, I'm going to say mid-year. I know they've already injected the shells. Same with the Procore 5820 plastics hopper. They're already injected. They're getting ready to paint those. So those are going to be mid-year. Cabooses that's been really slow. The factor that we're using for those, they like to do like one project at a time. So they did the steam jennies and then they moved on to the manor cars and the baggage sleeping cars. And I think the caboose is in there somewhere, but it's kind of in the mix.
Back
I don't know
burner,
exactly when it's going to be out. Mid-year, fall.
just in time for Christmas.
Yeah,
I'll put it on my list.
yeah.
I've already pre-ordered them, but they're on my list.
I think we've done some updates on the for some of the tooling too. I think the O&R cars. I think we've got correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're doing the 90-degree corner grabs on those.
Okay, yeah.
We didn't do those on the first run. They were just the standard CP grabs. So a couple of different changes for the second run.
And with any changes on the gondolas at all, or are they just like the same? Because you guys have done, this is the third run that's coming out, right?
Yeah, those are just re-release. I don't think there's any new tooling on those. Could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it's just new paint.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I think that's everything. Did you have anything else?
I think that's pretty much everything from my end of things. Yeah, I'm probably forgetting about this. It's difficult to keep track of everything right now, but especially with everything going on with the website and whatnot. But it's I think we covered pretty much all the deadlines and launches, and we do have some new stuff coming in April. We got some more Canadian cars coming.
Oh, really? Oh, some more announcements next month.
Yep.
Nice. Or early, mid, late? What are we looking at time frame?
We typically do. We're generally aiming for usually about the first or second Thursday every month. Depends on how things go. It's kind of a fluid schedule, but we always do the newsletter usually probably the Thursday before an order deadline. Somewhere in that kind of range.
Well, I know I said it last time, and I'll say it again. This isn't the last time we're going to meet like this.
No.
I really enjoy having you on.
Yeah.
I really love talking shop with you and
Sure.
talking about everything that's coming out and on the way.
I got to see your layout one day too. I haven't seen it yet.
Huh? What do you mean?
You have a big layout, don't you?
It's it's there. It's
bigger than mine. So.
Fun.
my non-existent layout. So.
Well, if you're ever in Ottawa, just drop me a line. You're more than welcome. You can come by anytime.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm usually in town once or twice a year. So.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Do you know if I'm looking at you and I say Jordan, is Jason? Is he still doing the picnics, the BBQs? Is that starting up again?
We've actually, so we're doing a dealer open house. We're getting back to the way we used to do it. So the dealer open house is twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
We usually like to announce a bunch of new products on those days. So I think we're doing a Canadian open house. This isn't a public open house; it's for dealers.
I still go
sometime in June, like the second week of June, I think. And then there's an American one we're doing in the fall.
Oh, really?
They're usually pretty fun events.
Didn't you guys do one in Britain as well? That was when you could travel more, right?
I haven't been to the UK yet myself. I haven't been invited to that one. So.
Oh, you got to do it. I think it would be cool.
One day.
Yeah. You'll come back with the Britain T-shirt, with the flag, and then the backpack thing.
We're actually talking about doing this Canadian dealer open house, and we want to bring the UK guys over here. We'll fly them in.
Ooh,
some of our American product developers. We can get them across the border, which I think it's not too much of a problem now. I was just in the States last week, and it wasn't a hassle. So bring some of the guys up. Should be good.
Right on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's perfect. Well, that being said, like I said, love having you on, and we'll do this again real soon.
For sure.
And I hope everybody else enjoyed. Just to let you guys know, this Thursday, every Thursday. We do Third Rail Thursday. It's my week this week, so we'll be back here on Thursday. Doing a bit of a Thanksgiving Day, or not Thanksgiving. Oh, where's my head? See, I'm really showing my age. Tomorrow's my birthday, so I'm really old now. And we're doing St. Patrick's Day. There we go. So I'll be decked out in green. And, we'll have a good time. We'll run some trains and whatnot. So come back for that. Yeah, that's about it.
Awesome.
Perfect. Well, thank you. Sorry?
Happy birthday, then.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Shout outs. All right. Well, everybody, you have yourself a great night. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm Go Veer, Go Home. Jordan Smith, everybody.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you later.
Later.